When you hear the question, what's the oldest Native American tribe, it might feel natural to name well-known groups like the Navajo or Cherokee. Those names come up often, and they're certainly among the largest and most prominent tribes in the United States today. But the reality behind that question is far from straightforward. The story of Native Americans is not a simple timeline with a neat beginning and end. It's a rich, complex saga stretching back tens of thousands of years, with many layers still being uncovered. Today, about 5.5 million people across the U.S. identify as Native American, belonging to 574 federally recognized tribes. The largest is the Navajo Nation, with approximately 340,000 enrolled members. Close behind are the Cherokee, numbering around 290,000. Other significant tribes include the Chippewa, Sioux, Choctaw, and Apache. But none of these groups were the first to set foot on this continent. The earliest arrivals predate all known tribes by millennia. For those interested in early human history, North and South America represent the last chapters in the global story of human migration. At minimum, archaeological and genetic evidence suggests humans arrived here at least 17,000 years ago, though some discoveries hint the date could be far earlier. The prevailing theory, the one that's been accepted by most researchers for decades, is that groups of nomadic hunter-gatherers from Northeast Asia crossed into what is now Alaska via a land bridge known as Beringia. This land bridge appeared during the last ice age, when huge amounts of water were locked up in glaciers, dropping global sea levels and exposing what is now a submerged stretch of land between Siberia and Alaska. These early travelers settled in the far northwest of the continent but faced a massive obstacle. An enormous ice sheet blanketed much of North America, blocking any southward movement. As the ice age drew to a close and the glaciers melted, a window opened, literally a gap in the ice, through which these groups could move further into the continent. Many scholars believe that all Native Americans, from Canada to Chile, descend from this original migration. If this holds true, then the very first Native American settlements appeared in what is now northwestern Alaska. While the Beringia land bridge theory remains dominant, some scientists propose alternative or additional migration paths. One idea is that the first Americans traveled by boat along the Pacific coastline, moving down from Alaska and British Columbia through what is today Washington, Oregon, and California. This Kelp Highway hypothesis suggests a maritime route that could have been easier than trudging through vast ice fields. For years, the earliest recognized culture in North America was the Clovis people, dating to around 13,000 years ago. Their distinctive spear points were found across much of the continent and were thought to represent the first human settlers. But archaeological finds in the last few decades have shaken that assumption, pushing back the timeline and showing that humans were here much earlier. Here's a brief tour of some of the most significant discoveries challenging the old picture. In New Mexico's Folsom site, 10,000-year-old remains of an extinct bison were found, bearing marks made by human tools, indicating sophisticated hunting. The Bluefish Caves in the Yukon have animal bones with cut marks dating back 24,000 years, far earlier than Clovis culture. On California's Santa Rosa Island, archaeologists uncovered human bones about 13,000 years old, supporting the theory that early peoples used boats. Monteverde, Chile, features a human settlement at least 14,000 years old. In the Yucatan Peninsula's Hoyo Negro underwater cave, a remarkably preserved human skeleton was found, dated to 12,000 years ago. In Oregon's Paisley Caves, fossilized human feces dating back 15,000 years have offered invaluable DNA evidence. Texas' Friedkin site has traces of human activity from the same era, around 15,000 years ago. Montana's Anzac site revealed the remains of a Clovis-era infant, about 12,500 years old. Genetic analysis links this child to the vast majority of modern Native Americans in both North and South America. Taken together, these findings show that the story of human arrival in the Americas is far older and more complex than previously thought. It also shows a continuous thread connecting ancient peoples to the Native Americans living today. So, which tribe is the oldest? Now comes the hard truth. None of those earliest groups, Clovis, Folsom, or the others, exist as tribes anymore. Civilizations rise and fall. Climate changes, migrations, and conflicts over millennia have reshaped the landscape repeatedly. The concept of a tribe as a stable, unchanging entity over thousands of years doesn't really apply. What we see today are living, evolving cultures, descended from many branches of that ancient family tree. Trying to identify the oldest existing tribe among today's Native Americans is no easier. The arrival of Europeans in the 15th and 16th centuries disrupted countless cultures, and much of the pre-contact history was passed down orally rather than written down. Oral histories, by nature, adapt and change with each generation, sometimes blending myth and fact. Many tribes have origin stories involving migrations, great rivers like the Mississippi, or other natural landmarks. These stories carry deep cultural meaning but don't serve as precise historical timelines. For instance, the Cherokee often say their people have existed since time immemorial, a phrase that speaks to a profound sense of timelessness rather than a dated record. This is a common theme among many tribes. Among those Native American nations, the Hopi hold a special place. Known for their deep spiritual traditions and connection to the Southwest, the Hopi are often recognized as one of the oldest continuous tribes. The Hopi village of Oraibi in northeastern Arizona is believed to be the oldest continuously inhabited settlement in the United States, with an unbroken history going back nearly 1,000 years. Linguistics also offer clues about migration and age. Navajo and Apache, for example, speak languages from the Athabascan family. These groups are believed to have migrated south into North America about 10,000 years ago, arriving much later than the first settlers. The truth is, the question, which Native American tribe is the oldest, may never have a definitive answer. Archaeology, genetics, linguistics, and oral traditions each offer pieces of the puzzle, but no one source tells the whole story. What remains clear is that Native American identity and history are living, breathing elements of today's culture. Origin stories, family ties, and ancestral pride are essential to Native peoples, just as much as the scientific record. And as new discoveries come to light, our understanding of these ancient journeys continues to grow and evolve. Perhaps the most meaningful takeaway from all this is not about naming the oldest tribe but recognizing how we approach this history with respect and humility. The Native American peoples living in the United States today are the stewards of a culture that stretches back through countless generations, shaped by resilience and adaptation. As we uncover more pieces of the distant past, we should do so with care. Honoring the stories, traditions, and lives of those who came before, while listening to and supporting Native voices today. History isn't just about dates or artifacts. It's about people. And when it comes to Native America, that story is still unfolding.